Well begun is half done, right? So when it comes to stock market, well begun means how you select a stock. So stock selection is literally like 50%, or I would say more than 50% of the work would be stock selection, and the other half would be where you enter and where you exit. So today we are going to talk about how to select a stock on the basis of technicals and some common sense. This is Paresh Desai from Sankalp Eduventture. If you like this video and if you're staying till the end of this, you'll be able to easily understand how to select a stock, right, which is best for your purpose. So you could be a long-term investor, you could be a positional trader, or you could be a day trader also. But today's focus is mainly going to be from positional trade or from long-term purpose, right? So if you like this video, don't forget to like this, comment this video, and also subscribe if you have not done this already. So let us start and see how you're going to analyze and find out which is a good stock. Okay, so the chart which you see here is I'm showing you on investing.com, a site which you can easily use for analyzing your stocks, right? And the first part which I would like to talk to you about while you are analyzing how to understand, you can see it on the screen. And the first part is do sectoral comparison. Okay, so do sectoral comparison का मतलब क्या होता है? There are different sectors, right? So for example, there is auto sector, there is pharma sector, there is FMCG, there is media, there is banking. So all these stocks are from different sectors. So sectors is something which is called as the macro, and the company itself is the micro, right? So when you're comparing when you're talking about macro, you're talking about the bigger picture, right? And when you're talking about micro, we are talking about the smaller picture, which is the individual stock. So individual stock जो होता है is almost most of the times going to follow what is happening in the entire industry, which is nothing but the sector. So हम sector का study करेंगे, and then we are going to find out which are the good stocks inside that sector. क्योंकि sector ही आपका अगर गलत है, अगर vehicle ही आप wrong select कर रहे हो, in that case what's going to happen is you are going to make the wrong choice in the stock selection, और फिर बाद में entry or exit doesn't make much sense afterwards. As I said, well begun is half done. So selecting the stock is very important. So again, let us go back to the charts and see that how you're going to do the sectoral analysis. So sectoral analysis के लिए पहले मैं आपको समझाना चाहूँगा कि for sectoral analysis we've got very good sectoral comparison tools which are given by our National Stock Exchange. So when you go to NSE, you'll find that there are different sectoral indices. So sectoral indices का मतलब होता है जैसे निफ्टी है, निफ्टी 50 is only for 50 stocks, but they represent all the sectors, right? जितने भी sectors हैं, most of the sectors, top stocks are there in the Nifty 50 index. But when you're talking about individual sector, okay, for example, if we take metal sector, if we take pharma sector, then in that sector only the top pharma sectors or top metal sector, metal companies are there. So we are very fortunate that such type of tools are available where we can compare कि how is the macro concept doing. तो अगर market अच्छा चल रहा है तो obviously the individual stocks are going to do well for that particular sector. Market I would mean that particular market. So अगर pharma है तो pharma market, okay, then auto है तो auto market. So if the sector itself is doing good, then the individual companies are going to do well. Okay, so I would like to first tell you that how during certain periods, if the sector itself is not doing well, then the stocks most of the times also would not be doing well. Okay, so जैसे हम देखते हैं, I would take one sector which is the pharma sector. Okay, so pharma sector में हम चलते हैं. So if I go to Nifty Pharma, okay, so this is nothing but the index which is of the pharmaceutical companies. और अगर हम देखेंगे यहाँ पर ये जो period दिख रहा है, look at the bottom. This is from 2015 to 2020, यानी 5 साल तक this sector was in a recession, right? Can you see from here almost like 14,000 points say it had come to 6,500 points, so almost 50% down from the all-time high from the sectoral points. तो सेक्टर अगर अच्छा नहीं कर रहा है तो what do you guess that the individual companies would be doing well? Very less chances. Okay, so let us come and see one good stock. For example, let us say one of the best stocks, one biggest stocks, Sun Pharma. So अगर Sun Pharma देखते हैं, so from 2015 to 2020, again if you see, it was in a recessionary trend, and most of the other stocks also you find in the pharma sector would be in a recessionary trend from that particular period. Okay, and then later on when the sector itself started doing well, that was a time when if you see that now Sun Pharma has come up to 780 rupees as of today, right? So today is 13th September, I'm recording this video today, and this is where it has come over the last few months, or I would say last 1.5 years, where in March 2020 it had given a lowest point of around 330 और यहाँ पर आज 780 rupees पे. Okay, so if the sector is doing well, the individual stocks will do good. If the sectors are doing bad, then the individual stocks also most probably should be doing bad. Okay, bad in the sense the price उनका नीचे आता रहेगा. Okay, so yes, so that gives us one important common sense thing कि अगर आपको एक अच्छा stock select करना है, then you have to go obviously for the sector which is performing well. Okay, तो अभी देखते हैं कौन सा sector अच्छा कर रहा है. Okay, so during this period, do you think all the sectors were doing bad? Obviously not. So I'm going to show you other sectors like Nifty IT. IT, so information technology का जो sector है. Okay, so in this sector it would be represented by stocks like Infosys and then Wipro and all these stocks. Okay, IT stocks. So 2015 to 2020, if you see the period from here to here, okay, so similar period where the pharma sector was coming down, okay, other sectors like auto was also coming down, this IT sector was going up, right? So 2015 to 2020, we have seen that the IT sector was actually doing well. यहाँ पर थोड़ा correction है, but that's okay. But overall, that was not a downtrend. This was just a correction, and then the sector has been doing well. Was doing well up to that point. But this is the time when everything came down, which was March 2020, right? When for 2-3 months there was like a crash and everything came down. But then again, the recovery of this sector was the fastest. Okay, if you see most of the other sectors, they would have taken some time, but this sector recovered within what? Within just 3 to 4 months. So if this was March, can you see this is on March, this big red candle, ये March का candle है, April, May, June, July. By July, whatever was the pre-COVID high, the sector had already reached to that point. So the advantage of selecting a good sector is that whenever there is a fall, which sometimes there is because this is the market, so the sectors which are strong are the first to bounce back, right? तो कभी भी आप कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हो या ट्रेड करते हो, स्पेशली फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, सी टू इट दैट द सेक्टर्स व्हिच यू सेलेक्ट आर वेरी गुड. क्योंकि अगर सेक्टर अच्छा है, इवन इफ देयर इज अ फॉल, these are the first which are going to be back up on their feet once the markets recover. Okay, so this was about Nifty IT. So I hope you're getting a good idea कि अगर sector and the individual stocks, right, how to compare those and then invest. So once you have identified कि कौन सा sector, कौन सी industry अच्छी चल रही है, okay, and now you are going to select which are the top companies in that particular sector. तो अगर individual stocks कौन से है, if you want to see, what you can do is you can go to the NSE site. So I'm going to give you a resource here where you can go and find what are the individual stocks inside that particular sector. Would that be great? Yes. Obviously, there's a great resource here because you might be having many stocks, but आपको पता नहीं होगा कि शायद वो कौन से सेक्टर में, या इंडेक्स तो पता है लेकिन उस इंडेक्स के अंदर कौन से स्टॉक्स हैं. So now I'm going to give you a resource where once you go into market data into NSE, market data में जाने के बाद if you go to indices, you can go to this particular index and then go to the sectoral indices. So in sectoral indices, I'm going to go here to Nifty IT. So once I click on Nifty IT, I'm going to get all the companies which are there in the IT index, Nifty IT index. It doesn't mean that it will contain all the IT companies, but there are selected stocks which are in the IT sector. तो यहाँ पर अगर देखते हैं तो Mindtree, Mphasis, OFSS, Coforge, TCS, Wipro. These are the stocks which are there in the Nifty IT index. So if I take 2 or 3 good stocks from this. Okay, for example, if I want to select Infosys or Tech Mahindra or Wipro, देखते how are these stocks. Okay, so if I take let us say Wipro, तो अगर Wipro पे चलता हूं मैं and I'm going back on the investing.com and this is what I see on Wipro and wow, can you see the trend? And this is on the monthly time frame. So month over month, Wipro is a stock which was in March 2020 जो low का आ गया था almost like 170. Today it is at a high of 670 rupees. Okay, so now did you understand that what is the power of selecting a stock based on the sector? क्योंकि अगर sector अच्छा कर रहा है, as I said, the individual stocks are going to do well. Okay, so to get a good idea, okay, of how to select a stock, I'm sure this video is of great help to you, right? So let us continue this discussion. So अगर Wipro का मान लो अपने stock select किया है, and this is how it is going. So this is the first part which I told you, one would be common sense. Okay, so this is the common sense part which is telling us that yes, that this is where this how you're going to select the stock based on simple common sense concept कि अगर sector अच्छा कर रहा है then the individual stock should be good. But believe me, although this looks like a very basic stuff, this is the most important thing which you have to see. Okay, बोलते हैं ना common sense is most uncommon. तो वैसे कुछ ऐसा यहाँ पर stock में in the stock market में हो जाता है that people forget the basic common sense stuff and then they go running after all different stocks or on tips or something, sometimes based on what they say on certain news channels and all. Okay, so यहाँ पर एक common sense का जैसे एक use हो सकता है. The second part which I'm going to talk to you about is something called as a long-term trend. Okay, so long-term trend. So let us see how this long-term trend works. The first one was what? Common sense. The second part is long-term trend. Long-term trend का मतलब क्या होता है? Long-term trend का मतलब होता है how the stock is doing in the long term. Because if you see a period of let's say 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, how is it doing in the last 15 years, 10 years? How is that trend? So coming to trend, let me tell you there are 3 types of trend. The first trend where the stock is going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Okay. Second one where the stock is going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. The third trend is where the stock goes sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes up, sometimes down. तो जो higher and higher and higher पहला वाला जो था उसको कहते हैं uptrend or the bullish trend, right? And if the stock starts going down and lower and lower, that is the bearish trend. And the third trend is a sideways trend. So out of these 3 trends, which one do you think is the best suitable for you? Obviously, there's common sense one more time in stock selection, yes, and that is that it has to be in the bullish trend, that it has to give you higher highs and higher lows. So ये highs and lows क्या है? Okay, so this word sometimes might find confusing. Higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. So those are a little confusing. So let me try to make it a little simple for you. Okay, तो simplicity के लिए हम जाएंगे line chart पर. Okay, so if I go on line chart, what I'm going to see is that how is this stock over the how many years? Let us say 10 years. Okay, so let us take some other stock. For example, if I take Infosys. Okay, अगर मैं Infosys पे चलता हूँ, and this is one stock which I am taking for Infosys for a period of what? 10 years. So 10 years का अगर मुझे selection करना है, तो I can go directly over here and select the 10 years. So आपको screen पे 10 साल का stock दिखने वाला है. Now what do you see over here? 10 years back, the stock was somewhere around 206. This is Infosys. And today, where is it? It is at 1691. How much is the jump? 200 and what is this? 227 to 1690, 1700. So almost like what? 4, 5, 6, 7 times in last 10 years. Yes, it is possible. And these are the long-term stocks which we have to see. Okay. So now what I would like you to observe is that every time, let us take from year to year. Okay. The last 1.5 years is like a one-way route. Okay. Where the increase is quite sharp. If you see over the period last from 2010 to 2020 अगर देखते हैं, the okay, or even if you see for last 2003 to 2020, the climb has been gradual, right? It is going like around 45 degrees smooth. But if you see the last 1.5 years, it is like almost vertical. So now once I'm going on this, we are going to understand what are higher highs and what are higher lows. Now I hope you can see something like mountain tops. Yes. So this is a mountain top. This is another mountain top. Okay, the bigger ones, I mean. बाकी दूसरे छोटे भी दिख सकते हैं यहाँ पर. Also, this would be a mountain tops. Okay, so I'm taking the peaks, highest peaks. Okay, so highest peaks would be here, would be here, would be here, and one more. I'm going to take it over here. Okay, so in these 1, 2, 3, 4, what do you find? Yes, one simple common sense again observation is that every time the price goes up, it goes higher than the earlier high. The one I marked here with the red line is the earlier high. Okay, so next time it went up, it went beyond this and it reached here. Okay, but again they came down for some time. When it started moving up, it moved higher than the earlier high also. Okay, so this is where we're getting the term that the price is making higher highs and higher highs and higher highs. Okay, so this is the first part. Second part is that when the price does come down, now this is a market, we have to understand. It is not going to go up in a straight linear fashion. Nothing does in the stock market, rarely. Okay, so there are always going to be corrections. So what is mean by corrections? Correction would mean whenever the price is moving in the opposite direction of the main trend. Okay, तो जैसे ये main trend है, तो correction यहाँ पर क्या हुआ? जब भी price नीचे आ रही थी, this was the correction. Okay, this was the correction. This was the correction. और ये भी एक correction था. Okay, so these blue lines which are marked are called as corrections. Why? Because the main trend is up. और जब भी corrections होते हैं, price is moving in the opposite direction of the main trend. But does this correction go on and on throughout? Obviously not. It is going to wait or it's going to halt at some point. Okay, the point at which it halts is the valley. So ये जो अगर mountain tops है, these are like valleys. Now one more time, observe very carefully. How are the valleys? This valley, if you see, is over here. The second valley is over here. How is it? Do you find that this valley is little higher than the earlier valley? Yes. Then what about this valley? Higher than the earlier valley? What about this valley? Higher than the earlier valley? Okay. So if this is a mountain, then obviously when you slide down the mountain, you're going to get a valley. So these valleys, when these valleys are formed, and the one more time when the price starts moving up, these lows are getting higher and higher and higher. Right. So that is how you find that the highs are higher and the lows are also getting higher. So once you find that a stock is like this, that is the time you're going to say, yes, this is my stock. Okay, so first one was common sense, where we found out that how the sector is doing and accordingly we selected the stock. Second one is where you analyze over a longer period. जितना भी ज़्यादा period मिलता है उतना ले लो, 10 years, 15 years, and see how the stock is doing over a long period. If it is behaving in the way which we have seen just now, then that is the stock which you're going to select for your long-term investment. I hope you've got a very good idea about how to do stock selection. To summarize one more time, there are two ways you can summarize, two ways you can actually use this. One is your common sense part, where you do a sectoral analysis and select the stocks which are the best out of that. And the second one was the analysis of the trend. Okay, so how the trend is, and in the long term, if you find that the trend is good, then go for that stock, because that is the stock which you want to invest in. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like this and comment also below that what if exactly you like and what else you would like, where I would be more than happy to serve you and come out with more videos of this type where the entire community can be benefited. Because today, if you see the population of India, which is around 130 CR, 130 crores, not around 6 to 7 crores only demat accounts are there. So can you imagine that how many people are losing out on from this huge benefit in terms of wealth creation, right? So instead of putting your money in savings account or fixed deposit account, and if you have a little bit study about the technicals, about some common sense investing also, then can you imagine the type of wealth a person can create? Yes, so that is my endeavor, is that to reach out to maximum number of people. If you have liked this video, please share it with your friends and also like it and subscribe to it. And as I said, you please comment to it. If you comment to it, I will try to reply to it, and any suggestions given by you, I will definitely try from the bottom of my heart to see to it that your wishes or what you want is given in the other series of videos. Also, I can ask you to subscribe to my Facebook VIP group, where I share certain videos, certain scripts which are good at that point of time. So you can join my VIP group on Facebook. The link is given below. You can also have a look at my website. You can also visit my Telegram channel, if it is given here. And also you can subscribe and join my webinar group. Okay, so whenever I take the webinar, you'll be invited to join that webinar. So once again, thank you very much for watching this video. This is Paresh Desai from Sankalp Eduventture, and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.